I do power rankings, and my goodness, there is a hierarchy in every other conference. In this conference, throw Duke out, and everybody else, it's a toss-up every game. Syracuse is not considered to be a good football team. They took Wake Forest to overtime. They took Florida State to the last play of the game. They took Clemson to the last play of the game, and now they've won a couple games the last 2 weekends. Everybody is just now the team that Miami beat last weekend, many consider to be the best team in the conference, and now they may be playing the best team in the conference this weekend, but it's razor thin margin. It's a free for all in this conference. So it's there for the taking, and especially if what is happening, possibly, I don't think Clemson's going to be dragged down into the muck, but what might be taking place at Clemson is something you've talked about in recent years, that this reign of just winning every game might be over there.
Yeah, and I've talked about their luck running out, and I've talked about their program on here a lot because it's through the better part of the last decade been the program to aspire to be like. But you're starting to see chinks in the armor. That luck running out. You're having tangible, impactful injuries. And again, not even discounting like when Mike Williams got injured, but you had more receivers you can shake a stick at. Somebody else comes up, gets drafted first round, whatever, things like that. So is it a big injury? Yeah. But is it like a program changing injury at that point? No. But then you're starting to see guys like a Brian Brzee this year. You don't got another one of those. You know what I mean? Like that's an injury that matters. You're having, you've benched a quarterback, and the last time they benched a quarterback was Kelly Bryant for Trevor Lawrence, which should have happened, but it wasn't even for Kelly Bryant's deficient performance. It was just like, you're a mid-ceiling guy, and we got this generational dude, who's, come on. That's the last time they benched a quarterback, but now, you're benching for performance, DJU, you know what I mean? And then you got Tyson Fomachan in there maybe to start, or now you got a quarterback controversy instead of, I got this guy, Taj Boyd, Deshaun Watson, even the 1 year of Kelly Bryant, it got them to the playoff, but then Trevor Lawrence, you know what I mean? We don't have a guy set it and forget it for 3 or 4 years. They don't have a guy like that, and all these things are things I've been talking about. You're seeing guys transferring, like former starting guys, and even Justin DeTavio and I, my guy from the website, he and I were going back and forth. I was like, this running back who started at the beginning of this year, he's gone from Clemson. That doesn't happen. He's like, well, Tavian Feaster was a 5-star from South Carolina, and he transferred. I was like, yeah, but Tavian Feaster was never the dude. Tavian Feaster was like the number 2, 3 guy. And then you got Etienne, who got recruited over Feaster. And even though Feaster was everybody's All-American 5-star, he never played like that. So him leaving was just another guy. Because even then, when you think, okay, we miss on a 5, or they miss on a 5-star, and that's going to be impactful. You get Travis Etienne, and you forget that Tavian Feaster existed. That's what I'm talking about. But now you see these guys leaving. You see these guys getting hurt. Even guys who would be the 2nd and 3rd tier guys for Clemson are now not playing. Frank Ladson from South Dade, he's out as a wide receiver. He was everybody's All-American recruit. You got all these other guys now. They did not have injuries, and they did not miss on any players or development or anything for a long time. And all that luck from that golden run is running out. And I'm not sorry for them at all.
They've played 5 games in the ACC, and they have not played a great defense, and they have yet to score 20 points in an ACC game. They are struggling.
I mean, and DJU, just to wrap that point, I was talking to Fred Purdue. Well, we had a podcast a while back, but Fred and I text every once in a while, and we were on the phone. Who did Clemson play non-conference? Georgia,
yeah,
that game. And literally, Fred said to me, he goes, "Oh, he has no anticipation. He can't see where the play is going." I said, no, he has to see them high school open. He needs to see the full body, both numbers of the jersey be open before he then says, okay, now let me start my throwing motion. He goes, oh, yeah, no, Georgia's going to get him. That was the next play before the play before he threw the pick 6. Literally, we're on the phone saying that. I'm like, oh, and he's like, I just told you he has to see it wide open, and that's not how it works. The higher up that you go, the smaller the windows get. Whether you're talking about basketball for a pass, whether it's about football, especially football for a pass, you got more people on the field. And high school open, I can see the whole guy. College, I might see half of the body as free from the defender, and I'll be open. In the NFL, I might see the tip of the pinky of that guy open, and that's open. That's what open means in this scenario. But he wants it to be high school open, butt naked. I can see the guy doing backflips and cartwheels before I think to throw it. And it's not going to be like that. And that's where the progression and development has had a chink in the cane. Or sorry, not a chink, a kink in the chain. There we go. A kink in the chain, or just a chain breaking. Because for all these other guys stepping up, Deshaun Watson, he came up from high school. He threw some interceptions like that, but then he got over it. Trevor Lawrence never even threw those interceptions because he was vibrating on a different level. But DJ can't see it still in his third year on campus. So, what are you doing? But, hey, like I said, or second year, either way, I don't feel any ways tired for them because they whooped everybody's ass for a good long time, and I knew that run was going to run out. So, hey, bye.
We are appreciative of everyone in the live chat, of course, but especially those folks that are coming through with some super chats. Thank you so much for that. So we will get right into them right now. Mr. Prime, Manny acts like a mom to the players. No hard work in the offseason or accountability for making bad plays. Allows bare minimum in the weight room.
What foundation do you have to say any of that? No hard work in the offseason. It might not be, the work might not bear fruit, but them boys work. You know what I mean? Accountability for making bad plays. Now that's one where I will agree with you. During the season, we're seeing, okay, yeah, he's not necessarily been holding players accountable. And then, continuing with that, allows bare minimum in the weight room. I'm not in the weight room with them. Are you? Because I haven't seen that. I've seen players breaking some records. You know what I mean? I've seen those videos and things like that, but allowing the bare minimum, which, is a coordinated kind of a thing, I haven't seen that. So I don't know where your foundation is for that. Maybe you're right. But on those 2 points, I offer just a little bit of pushback. But regardless, the performance on the field has still not been what we desire, and I agree with that.
Chuck C., glad to see you guys today. Thanks for the show. Chuck C., we appreciate you being here as always. Thank you for your support. Wouldn't it be fitting, number one, NC State wins the Atlantic. Number two, the Canes beat Pitt. Number three, the Canes lose the tiebreaker to Virginia, but maybe a game back of Pitt. Perfect ending.
I mean, that could easily happen. Virginia's already beaten us. We have Pittsburgh on the road, and they're ranked 17th. We obviously just beat the 18th ranked team at home last weekend. But that very well could come to pass. So, there are still things to play for if you're trying to really hope against hope for the ACC Coastal. Obviously, a win this weekend is essential towards that. If you lose this weekend, it's over. Plain and simple. Because you need so many other losses. Now, even if you win this weekend, you still need Virginia to lose another game, and now you need Pitt to lose another game. Because if you have two losses then you lose the tiebreaker to Virginia because they beat you. Then we would beat the Pittsburgh in the tiebreaker in that scenario because we've beaten them. But to be clear of that, that means we need Virginia to have 3 losses, and we need Pitt to have 2 losses because they're undefeated in conference at this point. So this would only be 1 loss for them. So we still need extra help. So everybody's saying, Miami's in control of their own destiny. Only to a point. We're in control of keeping the destiny alive, but not entirely in control of making it a reality without the assistance of other teams. This is also why you need to be reading John Reynolds' ACC Rooting Guide every weekend, because he does the breakdowns on this, which we've done for a couple of years. He's the one who's in charge of that this year, to go and say, hey, this is what you should be rooting for. This is what will help Miami down the road. Every Friday on stateoftheu.com. Go and read it, the ACC Rooting Guide. It's up there all the time. Trust me. But yeah, that scenario that you put out, it very well could come to pass. But, at this point, heading into the season, I was definitely looking at it as a holistic thing. 10-2 ACC Coastal Championship will go from there. At this, you have to be granular. You have to be singularly focused. It's this week because the path forward diverges in a yellow wood, as it were, Robert Frost. If you lose, it's over. If you win, there's still potential. You're still on that path, even though you might not get there because they might not trip up again and Virginia might not trip up again, but you're still on the path towards potentially getting the ACC Coastal Division Championship if you win at Pitt this week. So you really got to look at it in a week-to-week basis. So more singularly focused than holistically focused and everything just as we move forward.
On a side note, Virginia's got an interesting date out of conference this week against BYU. Everything Diesel. Thank you so much for the super chat. Appreciate that. Nothing stated there, but because of your contribution, I see you've got a comment right after that about Manny. I'm sorry, but Manny's got to go. There's no way you can tell me this team will beat Texas A&M next year with him in charge.
I mean, preaching to the choir, or the former choir director, as it were. I told you, after Michigan State, I was out. I was actually I was working on my, Manny Diaz fired post-mortem piece the other week because, I just wanted to be sure that I had all the numbers and records updated because that's what I'm focused on. That's what I'm looking at. I don't think that he doesn't have the range. He didn't have the ability. And, maybe it would have done him better to go to Temple and win some games and lose some games and figure out how to run a program there. But, using Miami as a training job, with all due respect, I think the moment's too big for him. And, the team plays hard for him most times, and the players do like him and everything, which is great. But good is not good enough, especially for me and the Miami Hurricanes. So with all due respect, and, to him as a person, wish him the best and everything. But, definitely needs another couple mango seasons and should be somewhere else.
Leon Hurricane, you and others that we see here on a regular basis, we appreciate you so much for being here all the time and supporting. Thank you so much for that, Leon. And Falconer X, of course. What do you got to say tonight? Falconer X chiming in for the first time. Noon game scares the hell out of me. Miami has a hard time with the sun out.
Well, you're going to be scared for the next 2 weeks because this week is at noon, and then next week at home against Georgia Tech is at 12:30 on your regional sports network. So down here, that's going to be Bally Sports Florida.
What?
Yeah. I mean, there still are regional sports networks.
It's not like an ACC network game, at least.
No, not even, because you're going to have one on ACC network at noon, and then the 12:30 is going to be your, It used to be Fox Sports, your whatever kind of a thing. That's where that has been put. So I obviously posted that, and a couple of people were like, well, they don't even have that on whatever. I'm like, you got a week. Find that bar you want to go to. Hit up my boy G on Twitter, King of the Fire Stick. I'm just saying, go and do that and make it work. Find your little streaming site. Whatever you got to do. I done told y'all from Tuesday or Monday when it was announced about next weekend's game. But to Falconer X's point, both this week and next week are already going to be in that noon window. The week after that is November 13th at Florida State. That could easily be a nooner also because neither team is really good. So, if you're talking about noon games or, those early games scaring the hell out of you, you got 2 in a row and maybe 3. So, I don't know, maybe just say your little Halloween prayer or whatever it is to, get the spooks out of you before this weekend. But, that's where it's going to go.
Falconer X following up the super chat with a super sticker. I continue to be amused by whatever that is, but Falconer X always grabs the super sticker. We appreciate that. Then comes back with this. NCAA rules today will not let coaches coach like 1985 to 92. The young men are different and their world is so much larger.
I think it just means like the totalitarian rule of coaches like a Bo Schembechler or Woody Hayes or, like even the and Notre Dame coaches, like guys like that who's like really, just like, they were definitely the hammer and the players were the nail. You know what I mean? Like that mentality. In large part, you're right. But then you also have Nick Saban. Because if you win...
It seems like he's softened.
Right.
He
has softened, but he's still probably one of the tougher coaches around, and a lot of things he said, like, You want to hate on them, but it's like, look, like we have a standard of excellence, and we did not uphold that standard, and that's why Miami got 13 points in that game. You know, if you think that you should be playing and your parents want to call me and everything, find 5 guys on your side of the ball, you know what I mean, offense or defense, find me 5 starters who think you should be starting over who started. Then we could talk about it. But if you can't, then do the work. But he's one of the few who has that cachet of winning pedigree to really kind of lean in to those kind of things. But to Falconer's point, yeah, there are times have changed, you know, and I mean, it's different for all of us. I mean, like Mark, I not remember, but I know you and I both probably when we were younger got a swift backhand upside the head once or 3 times. You know what I mean? Can't get away with that right now. You know what I mean? Things are different. So it goes into the world of coaching as well.